Gridlife Touring Cup heads to NOLA Motorsports Park for the first time ever in the fall of 2020 to kick off the 2021 season. Welcome to Gridlife Live. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Tom O'Gorman and Abe Schmucker for what is sure to be an excellent race with 20 of the best talents in Gridlife Touring Cup. We've got Eric Cattell starting on the front row alongside some of the buddies that have been around for quite some time, Tom, but I think there's a lot of unknowns going into this race. We talked a little while ago about the expectations for this one. It's a fast flowing racetrack, lots of high-speed maneuvers, and turn one and the race down to it are going to be the biggest topics of discussion.
If you're joining us live on Gridlife Live for the first time, Gridlife Touring Cup is wheel-to-wheel racing. We're racing 4 15-minute races over the course of this weekend. Each driver scores points for their finishing position, just like when you boot up Gran Turismo, bang out a bunch of races, and the driver with the most points ends with the season or with the weekend championship. So the grid is on their warm-up lap, 18 cars to take the green flag for race number 1. We're most of the way around this track. Familiar faces and new names. The storyline for this race for me is who is confident in where the speed is and who is confident in where the passing opportunities are on a relatively unfamiliar NOLA Motorsports.
Hey, welcome as well, and you've been kind of the announcer for GLTC alongside me when Tom's been not available. So you were here for Pikes Peak when we had a relatively small field, but I think I'm really excited for this one. This is a totally new experience at a totally new racetrack. Your thoughts before we turn them loose here in just a moment?
Well, I was quite surprised to see some of the drivers taking the line through some of the puddles on the straights there on this warm-up lap. Kind of unusual strategy. What do you think, Tom?
I think they're just testing what that's going to do to the cars. There is significant puddling on certain sections of this track. The drivers only got one quick look at it, and it happened really fast. We're coming up to the green flag for race 1.
Gridlife Touring Cup race number 1 from NOLA Motorsports Park is about to turn loose. A new racetrack, a new season, new rules, and new drivers. Turning them loose at the 3-mile NOLA Motorsports Park. The run down to turn 1, it's going to feel like forever. Green flag flies, and we're racing finally for Gridlife Touring Cup for the 2021 season.
Wow, almost 4 wide for a moment, but Jeremy Boy's in a great start. Ronnie Solomon's on the outside in the yellow S2000. They're still 3 wide through the puddles, and now they finally tuck in, but Eric Cattell and Todd Cayley were on the front row. They start side by side down into turn 1. Watch for that puddling on the curbs. They're going to use them anyway, and they're starting to break away already.
Cattell and Todd Cayley out up front. We saw Luke McGrew have to take evasive action, climb up on the curbing through that first corner, but nose to tail, front-wheel drive Civic, rear-wheel drive S2000, and a Miata in 3rd place right now. That's Luke McGrew, and his 2.5 swapped Miata. He runs out wide. And for the race lead, though, Cattell's only 4 car lengths out front.
But looking towards the 3rd position, that is Andrew Rains, who is ex-pro racer, still does a lot of professional coaching from Apex Pro. And he's all the way up to 3rd from 6th on the grid in that BMW E36, passing Luke McGrew, who does not seem to have a lot of confidence in his car. Justin Lee's also in there, and now they're going side by side through those puddles.
Oh, man, that's really dicey as they head down towards the back straightaway now. Dyson Pham is up there inside the top 10 as well, and he was here at Circuit of the Americas in February. He was super solid, but Eric Cattell now has a 15 car length lead as they exit and head down towards the S's.
This is arguably the fastest and strongest point for that Civic. It's a front-wheel drive car, very good balance at high speed, and they're coming into these S's over 100 miles an hour. Dab of the brakes, chuck it in for this left-hander. The S2000 not able to use as much curb. Look at the confidence Cattell has to climb those curbs, chuck the car back for this final straightaway through the edge of that puddle, and these drivers are just clearing the field by significant margins on this first lap. Back towards the back, though, Justin Lee, Luke McGrew, and Jeremy Boysen. Lee has a look up the inside.
Oh, he just chucks it down in the braking zone. He's through. Boysen wants to go up the inside as well. McGrew runs wide again. He's got no confidence in that car. Boysen goes around the outside through turn number 13, and he's going to try again now down in 14.
That's an impressive grip around the outside for a front-wheel drive car. Now Dyson Pham is having a look up the inside of Luke McGrew. So McGrew seems to be having some issues. Now Ronnie Solomon's going to have a look. So McGrew's the black car on the outside. They're going to go single file now. But that white front-end Civic EG had to add some weight for this season. We're on the 2021 rulebook for GLTC, but he doesn't care. He gets to break away by about 5 car lengths over Todd Cayley, who runs 2nd.
Battle for 6th right now is incredibly intense. Dyson Pham has it. McGrew just lost it. Ronnie Solomon's up there as well. Eric Meadows and McDonald's there. So there's about a 5 or 6 car fight for 6th place right now as Cattell leads the way into the first sector here for lap number 2.
Awesome to see McDonald in there, a new driver for GLTC, but a lot of experience, and it's also cool to see Scott Adams made it back out for the green flag. He had a ton of issues through all the practice and qualifying sessions, so that white Integra is in the field down towards the bottom, but he's out there nonetheless. So Cattell, Cayley, Rains, Lee with a great run. Boysen is the top 5.
And Boysen, he's having a really solid run so far. McGrew's going backwards. You have to wonder, Tom, is that motor going to hold up? That's the big fear in my mind, is he's put so many of them in there trying to get it to work. And he's been so fast when it does.
I mean, it almost seems like he's on rain tires. He just doesn't have the confidence in the corners, but the car seemed fine down the straightaway. We're going to keep an eye on that number 5 car. This is a former race winner. That car is super fast. Hasn't always been the most reliable, but something is not right in the McGrew machine. He's holding up Ronnie Solomon still as they're entering the S's, coming towards us. Coutil continues to pull away over Cayley. Reigns is 3rd, so those are the top 3 cars spread out by a bunch, but the race on the track right now for 4th between Justin Lee, Jeremy Boysen, and Dyson Pham. We've got NCMX5, Acura RSX, and Honda S2000. That's a cool battle coming into turn 13.
And they're charging down into Justin Lee with the big dive the last time that they went down there. Super aggressive on the brakes, and even behind Luke McGrew has Eric Meadows, who's basically a teammate tucking in behind. And another new driver, William McDonald, in the number 21. I believe that's a Toyota 86. He's running back in about 10th spot right now. He's about to chase down Solomon in the 8th place, number 212. That's Andy Smedgard's car. And then behind them is, it looks to be either Scott Robertson or I think it's Scott Adams in the 72 that's jumped up there. He had practice issues in qualifying. He's running pretty well now.
Boysen got around Lee on the last couple corners, but now Lee with a motor down the front straight is going to put Boysen through the puddles on the front straightaway, and they're going to go side by side down into turn 1. You know, I try really hard to pay attention to the way these cars look in every session. Luke McGrew is on his rain wheels, which means he might actually be on his rain tires. I don't know why he would have made that choice, but it worked out for him in previous races. Remember, back to Gingerman, it started raining, and he just drove away from everybody, so he might have taken the gamble, and it might not have paid off this time.
Todd Cayley has lost a little bit of ground to Eric Coutil. Coutil a half second faster, so if those rule changes, the rule modifier changes to the front-wheel drive cars did something, I'm not seeing it today. He's crushing everybody right now, but that's Coutil and his talent.
3 wide with Ronnie Solomon and 2 other drivers. That was Luke McGrew and Eric Meadows. McGrew is doing everything in his power, we suspect, on rain tires to stay as high up in this field as he can. So that's 7th, 8th, and 9th. And they were 3 wide tracking out of turn 3, just at the bottom of your frame. Might have missed it, but we're continuing to track with Eric Coutil. But the battles are for 4th and 7th right now.
And Boysen and Justin Lee were having a heck of a scrap, and those are very different cars by any count. Dyson Pham again showing his strength in his S2000 that he brought to Circuit of the Americas earlier this year.
Jeremy Boysen was showing the nose to Justin Lee, continues to run 4th, but now Ronnie Solomon gets a run up on the inside of Luke McGrew into the S's in turn 8. They are side by side, and finally Solomon closes the door. They're just about to enter your frame now. No, that's the battle for 4th just now streaming through, so Boysen still not able to do anything. There's the next battle. Luke McGrew is absolutely a rolling chicane right now. He's got to be on rain tires, and now his teammate Eric Meadows in the silver Miata is going to try to get by him on the brakes. Lunges.
Oh, here he goes up the inside, and Eric Meadows has the hole open. McGrew's going to leave it for him, and right behind them, again, that's William McDonald, who's looking super aggressive on the outside. The 72 of Scott Adams. It's 2 wide, 2 deep as they head to the final couple corners.
There's another car that's hunting in the background. That is Joel Morrison, who's new to GLTC this weekend. There's a 5-car battle. So now Meadows has been able to get around McGrew. McGrew is the 2nd car in that line. The S2000, the yellow car up front, is Ronnie Solomon. He's starting to drive away side by side between 2 of the local drivers for a moment. Now that is Morrison able to get by, or sorry, McDonald able to get by, and Scott Adams is having a look as well.
Yeah, McDonald is charging forward right now. He's up 3 spots. Luke McGrew is down 6 from the drop of the green flag. So Scott Robertson's down 3. Morrison's up 3. Coutil, Cayley have held their front 2 positions. Andrew Raines is 3rd. Justin Lee 4th, and Boysen rounding out the rest of the top 5. But a heck of a battle going on in the mid-pack. It looks like Formula 1 out there this afternoon.
I'm having keeping a close eye on the battle for 4th as well. Justin Lee has been able to dispose of Jeremy Boysen by allowing Dyson Pham to provoke a big fight between those 2. So the battle for 5th is on, and Lee gets a little bit of a break as he runs 4th. But that battle with Luke McGrew sparking chaos because he's just on the wrong tire. I think I gotta suspect he's on the wrong tire.
Well,
he's causing big problems for everybody.
So many drivers told me this weekend that it was going to be difficult to pass here, and I told them, yeah, the drivers are going to probably be frustrated with that, but from the spectators' point of view, they're going to love to watch that battle because when drivers get stuck behind other drivers, it means the racing's close. And even if there's no passing happening, it is super, super tight right now in the mid-pack as they sweep on through the S's here, Tom.
So Andrew Raines leaving your frame now. That's the BMW, and then it's the 3-car battle for 4th. Lee, Boysen, and Pham. And then that's the battle has fizzled a little bit for 7th. So that is Ronnie Solomon in the yellow S2000 running 7th. Eric Meadows is keeping up with him. Luke McGrew is still fending off. Whoa, goes for a big chuck around the outside of McDonald and takes the position away. And now McDonald gets to pull away. Scott Adams clears Luke McGrew as well. McGrew is in the white top with the black rest of the body. And now Joel Morrison is going to try to sweep around
Dyson
the outside.
Pham, he's off in turn 13. He's gone for the escape road. I'm not sure if he may be locked up or if he's trying to get out of the way. He comes back on the racetrack, and I think the 72 had to take a little bit of evasive action, but Pham continues, so maybe he just missed the corner there, Tom, but he dropped way out of the top five.
And we saw back at COTA, Pham was a little inconsistent. He had one big spin, and he had a couple of mistakes, so that is potentially another mistake for Dyson Pham as he's now down the middle of the front straightaway. Joel Morrison's able to motor by. Luke McGrew is the next car on his radar. Scott Robertson is running down Luke McGrew as well right now, and he's clinging in there in that one-lap Miata.
Super aggressive action here. We're about halfway through this first race of the weekend. We've got 3 more to run. Remember, the lap time is what gets you poled for race number 2. Eric Catil is the fastest out there, a 1:52.806. That's one of the fastest laps we've seen all weekend in a GLTC car. That's 3 seconds better than the next fastest car.
But look at that train of cars, starting with that is McDonald, Adams, Morrison, Pham, McGrew, Robertson, all nose to tail through turn 3, now into turn 4. We have another car off. That might have been the black. Is it the BMW of Reigns, or was that potentially Justin Lee? On the left side of your screen, rejoined. He's very slow.
I didn't get a good look at who that was.
We're going to have to take a look and see who that was, but there was definitely a car off and rejoining on the outside of turn 4. They're so far off in the distance, but there's a huge train of cars now working their way towards the S's. They just flashed across the top of your screen. We're taking a look at some of the drivers towards the back. That is Dai Win and Brian DeFries, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. So as the field sweeps through the S's now, Jeremy Boysen has found his own room to race in about 5th spot. Then it's Solomon behind him. Eric Meadows is chasing him down in that yellow S2000. But there's that big group you mentioned behind McDonald. It is a train.
It was Justin Lee, and now he's got Scott Robertson or Scott Adams all up underneath the back of that car, hunting back and forth. Goes for the outside. He knows this track better than most of the drivers.
Oh, lockup!
Big lockup. I have to wonder, did Justin Lee lose his ABS sensor again? He's going to go wide now. That is McDonald shows the nose in the Subaru BRZ. The black car side by side into turn 15.
Wow, that was a big moment for Justin Lee. Locked that right front tire up, and the 72 went the long way around. He's through. McDonald climbed up on the curb and got airborne as the 33 is slowing now at the exit of the corner.
I think he lost another ABS sensor. He's been fighting that all weekend, stayed up late last night to replace it, and it seems to have failed him again. So now the hard charger of this race, holy cow, Scott Adams up to 7th from, I think, 17th on the grid. And then local friend McDonald is going with him. Joe Morrison clinging onto that battle as well.
It's a very unsuspecting car, too. It doesn't look very intense from the outside, but it certainly is quick. We also saw that it looked like Eric Meadows had gotten by Solomon on the front straightaway, so moved Meadows up inside the top 5, boys into 4th, and that is partially because Dyson Pham, had dropped outside the top 5.
Just got too excited, got you choked up. At the front, real quick, we'll call out Eric Catil. We mentioned there were on the new rules for this season, and he actually detuned that car a little bit more, makes about 180 wheel horsepower now, so it makes less than most of the cars on the track, but he was able to cut close to 100 pounds out of that car with that choice. So whether he's going to stick with that across all tracks or whether he decided to go with lighter weight, lower power for this specific track, not sure, but it seems to be working out with him as he's just clearing the field over 3 seconds faster. Last time through than Todd Cayley, who's a very lonely second, and then a very lonely 3rd for Andrew Reigns as well, but an impressive run in that car on 100 treadwear tires, not on as grippy tires as the rest of the field.
White flag in the air for Eric Catil. One more lap around. We're 11 minutes in, and Eric Catil in the number 82 Honda Civic SI takes the white flag. One more lap around. It's not even close. Cayley's got a lot of work to do and a whole lot of luck if he wants to get anything done with Catil out front.
Might have a battle brewing for 5th and 4th. It's Ronnie Solomon and Eric Meadows. Those are the yellow and silver cars that just left your frame, but this is not going anywhere. Now Luke McGrew trying to defend off of McDonald. McDonald
big dive.
Super deep.
Oh, and McDonald actually had fallen back here because he was up the road with Justin Lee, but they have both fallen right back to Dyson Pham. So I think maybe McDonald had an off. They're running side by side in that final sector now through the last couple of corners.
Still side by side, and I got to say, I think McGrew saved McDonald from himself just a little bit there, because if McDonald was given any less room, they would have been having contact. But McGrew keeps it clean for the two of them, and they're going to come across the start-finish line now side by side with Dyson Pham. Pham gets a good run and goes by both of them up the front straight.
Wow, rocketing by in the front straightaway now. I think there's one car out there that's slow. Scott Adams is slow. He's got a problem.
Oh, no.
And he's dropping out now. It looks like he's going to hit pit lane here with just one lap to go. That's a real shame after having such a strong start. But Eric Catil is working his way around. Battles continuing through the rest of the field.
On your screen, that is the battle for 5th between Ronnie Solomon and Eric Meadows. And Meadows, I think, is the faster car, but can't quite figure out a way by. We talked about how NOLA Motorsports Park is a challenging place to pass, and especially with the puddles on some of the longer straightaways, there's 2 of them. It kind of closes down the number of passing opportunities even further.
And the desperation is there as well with the white flag out. You're going to make that move at this point. And Meadows gets a great run here. He's going to get right to the tailpipes of that yellow S2000. Nose to tail as they sweep on through the right-hander. Now he's got the slipstream heading towards the back straightaway.
A little bit of a breather. This was an easy flat-out right bend kink. And then it's into those S's. So look way back in the distance. The yellow S2000 leads over Eric Meadows. But Ronnie Solomon has the point. This is for top 5.
Checkered flag for Eric Catil. He wins Gridlife Touring Cup race number 1 from NOLA Motorsports Park. Todd Cayley will bring it home in second, Tom, as the battles continue behind him.
Boysen is way back in the distance, and he's going to bring home a 4th position. Andrew Raines works his way onto the front straight. Actually, no, that's Todd Cayley. That's how big of the lead Eric Catil had. We're keeping an eye on the battles through the rest of the field. It looks like Eric Meadows dropped off at the back of the S2000 just a little bit for 5th, so he might not create an opportunity for himself. Most of the field is a couple car weights apart at this point.
And the rest of the field sweeping on through. Looks like in the next car across the line, Andrew Raines, 3rd place, his first start ever. That's a podium for him. Jeremy Boysen should be 4th as he comes across the line in the number 99 RSX. He comes on through. Next car across the line, Solomon gets 5th place and Eric Meadows in 6th. And it looks like the next car might be Joel Morrison.
Oh, but it's a drag race with Dyson Pham. They're side by side up the front straightaway, and Pham has a run.
Side by side to the line. Checkered flag. Pham grabs it from Morrison at the last moment. Justin Lee right behind. Then the 21 car of William McDonald. Then Luke McGrew, who I got confirmation he was on rain tires. That was not a good decision. I don't even know why that was even a consideration, to be totally honest with you.
I don't know what he was thinking.
That was not an incredibly wise move in my opinion, but he has found his way home in 11th place as the last couple drivers sweep on through. What a race we just saw.
Yeah, and it's not quite done. There's two more guys battling. We were keeping an eye on them, and they're going to go almost side by side across. That's Brian DeFries and Bird.
Dane Bird.
Dane Bird in the CRX's beautiful car. They come through just outside the top 10, 14th and 15th. Yeah, that was awesome. Unfortunately for Eric, when you do a runaway like that, you don't get a lot of screen time. No. You don't get talked about a lot, but a dominant win for the 82 car of Eric Catil, recently featured on the Hoonigan channel. Todd Cayley, something maybe not right with that car. I'm going to go talk to him after this race and see, because his qualifying pace was close to 5 seconds faster than the laps he was running at the end of that session. So that car dropped off pretty significantly.
Catil finishing first here, how many pounds of reward weight will he add after this first race?
Yeah, that's a great point. In Gridlife Touring Cup, because we do 4 races, when you finish on the podium, you have to add what we call rewards weight. It's basically a penalty to slow your car down a little bit. And Eric Catil is going to have to add 75 pounds to that car for the next race. Todd Cayley gets to add 50 pounds, and Andrew Raines gets to add 25. Now, in talking to the drivers, though, that probably doesn't matter much, because Eric Catil is currently weighing in at over 80 pounds heavier than his minimum weight. So even if he won that race, he doesn't actually have to change his minimum weight. He's not actually going to change the weight of the car. He was already overweight, is what I mean to say.
Yeah. So with that, our first race of the 2021 Gridlife Touring Cup season, Eric Catil is your winner. Todd Cayley in second. Andrew Raines in his first ever GLTC appearance, 3rd place for him. That's a podium. Jeremy Boysen 4th, Andy Smedgard 5th, Eric Meadows, Dyson Pham, Joel Morrison, Justin Lee, and William McDonald, his first ever GLTC race. He brings it home in 10th. Luke McGrew, Scott Robertson, Patrick Reyes, Brian DeFries, Dane Bird, Frederick Scott, Dine Nguyen, and Scott Adams are the rest of your field. And unfortunate for Scott Adams, he was up inside the top 5 at one point, or very close to it, Tom, but had some sort of issue and had to bail off the racetrack.
Yeah, so I would keep an eye on that 525 because it is quick. He was significantly faster than the cars around him. Now we look towards race 2, and something we haven't talked about necessarily is Gridlife Touring Cup's format. Over those 4 races, each race is gridded by a different measure than the previous one. So this one was off of fastest lap from qualifying. The next race is from fastest lap of this race. So for drivers like Dyson Pham, who are inconsistent but fast, they actually get a redo, and they get to move back up the grid wherever their fastest lap slots in. And we're going to reorder that one, rack 'em and stack 'em, as you like to say, and we'll run down that starting grid for race 2 at about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Absolutely. And Abe, your thoughts? You got to watch from the sidelines. There was busy discussion up here in the broadcast booth, but your thoughts on that first race of the year, really?
Sorry, Abe.
Well, looking at Catil's race here, it's kind of sad for him, actually. I mean, he's going to have a great race weekend, I expect, as long as he doesn't battle any gremlins with the build of the car. But, he's kind of running away with it, and he's going to limit his opportunities to have a good race.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, really, GLTC is all about having fun. And when you're crushing everybody, that might be fun, but some people enjoy having the actual battles. But Eric's car is engineered well. He's a really good driver. That's not taking away anything from anybody out there, but I am convinced that we're not going to see that all weekend this week. We've seen drivers be dominant in the past.
What I expect to see, at least from him, if he can continue to run this fast, is he'll probably start focusing on setting that GLTC lap record here for NOLA Motorsports Park. I think if the racing competition for him is not quite as stiff, expect him to challenge himself to see what he can get out of the car at this event.
Yeah, for me, my storylines going into race 2 are, first of all, the weather. If you noticed, it just got significantly darker and a little bit windier here at NOLA Motorsports Park, and there's absolutely the threat of rain in the forecast. So that's one thing. Eric Coutil is super fast in the rain as well. Won almost all the rain races that we've ever had in GLTC history, so that may not change a whole lot. But the 2 other wild cards, Todd Cayley, we mentioned he was off pace in that race, and Luke McGrew, for some unknown reason, ran rain tires in that race. If he's on the proper tire, that car will be way faster and way more of a contender to take down Eric Coutil.